Welcome back, YouTubers, to another TNA Impact Wrestling review with us, the British Fist.
Ka-ching!
Warming up that hand of yours, NJ. Mr. Parkin here. This guy sitting next to me wearing a hoodie. His name is an NJ.
What's up?
Not only are you smoking hot, but you'd think people would may mistake you for a member of the Ace and Eight with that hoodie on, NJ. Any answer to those questions?
They probably will do.
Yeah, anyway, subscribe above, like this video, and comment your thoughts on this edition of TNA Impact Wrestling down in that comment section below.
And make sure you contact us in the link in the description box below.
Yes, indeed. So tonight was Champions Thursday, where we're going to have a World Championship match with Jeff Hardy and 4 challengers. I just want to first talk about the way this show started. There's going to be a lot to talk about in this show, by the way. A really nice video package to start off the show, talking about Champions Thursday, going through the main feuds in TNA. And we actually start off with Hogan and Hardy backstage, and they're doing the talk, and Hogan saying how everyone in the world is watching TNA, even though their ratings are quite low right now. And we get that little segment with Jeff Hardy walking out of the room, looking at his challengers, and you have the sound clip in the background of him thinking about his opponents and stuff. And I thought that was a real nice way to start the show, a real nice touch to the beginning.
I like the way that obviously Jeff Hardy gave his analysis of his possible challenges, but the thing is, you could tell that it was fake and set up, because why were those outside the room waiting for him to come out anyway?
I guess they were waiting to go in to try and pitch their point. I don't really know. But one thing we did notice, though, in this was we had a different commentary team for the first hour. We had Jeremy Borash and Todd Kenley. Now, I much preferred these two. Borash, to me, just brings a hell of a lot more energy than a guy like Mike Tenay. And whenever Borash is on commentary, I do enjoy the team a lot better.
The fact that we got 2 different ones unannounced just there, it was a nice surprise to actually see them there instead of Taz. But the thing is, they were sitting there doing a great job, but unannounced, they said that second hour, it's going to change back round. I just thought that ruined it a bit.
Yeah, I mean, if they had Borash and Todd Kenley there for the whole show, I would have been very happy. I thought the fact they got rid of Tenay and Taz in the first hour was just brilliant. But we'll move on to the official opening to the show, which was RVD versus Zema Ion for the X Division Championship, a rematch from Bound for Glory. They seem to be doing all their rematches like pretty much as soon as they can on free TV from Bound for Glory, don't they?
I found that really bad, and the thing is, we're going to get to later, this week and next week are going to help TNA to give away the matches that follow them from Bound for Glory. They had 4 possible matches already set up for Turning Point, but because of these 2 weeks, they're able to give those possibly all 4 matches away on free TV.
And this was one of them. The X Division Championship match between RVD and Zema Ion went about 4.5 minutes. A pretty decent X Division match. I mean, these are the type of matches that I think should generally start off shows. They're nice and fast paced. I felt this could have gone on a little bit longer, but I was not surprised really to see RVD get the victory.
It's a bit of a shame that obviously with Ions being a wrestler who, before he won the championship, was all saying he should be champion, he should be champion. He gets it, looks okay. Yes, his possible feud was going to be delayed for a couple more weeks, months, so I guess they had to put the title on someone else. But it's just a bit of a shame that it got moved to Rob Van Dam with all wrestlers.
Unless they do the Sorensen and Iron feud, not for the X Division belt, which may be a possibility. And then you had, after the match, you had Matt Morgan coming out attacking RVD, and it seems like Joey Ryan is now going after the X Division title, and just where we need new guys in the X Division, Joey Ryan comes along, and I feel he is a perfect fit for the X Division, in my opinion.
Well, Joey Ryan, after the waiting to get his contract, and then for him to be going for the X Division, I think it's a good direction for him. Going to get more people to maybe like him, because he's actually going to be doing something in TNA than just hovering around with these odd matches. He's going to go for the X Division. The thing I did not like about this was the pairing of him and Matt Morgan. I really thought Matt Morgan was going to come in and set a statement by going towards the main event seed, or to take out the bigger wrestlers and be like a bodyguard to Joey Ryan.
Yeah, I guess maybe pushing him into the main event scene straight away would have been a little bit not the best way of bringing Matt Morgan in and to pushing him straight away. But him being by Joey Ryan's side, I mean, you could say he's a bit low down the card, but I'm fine with it for now, as long as it's an introduction to him and he actually does fulfill what he's saying to Hogan, that he's going to be a monster.
Because that's the thing, when he spoke directly to Hogan in his promos, this one and the one he did later on, I think it definitely gave a stronger feeling for Matt Morgan. But I do think, even though he can make impact by helping Joey Ryan, he should definitely have probably gone on his own, I really think.
Yep. After this segment, we had a promo segment with Kaz and Daniels coming out, and notice how as soon as they come out, the world, we're tag team champions of the world, managed to get a "You suck" chant starting just by talking on that mic, didn't they? Good heel heat there.
And that's the thing, because obviously with Daniels being the guy that's always played the heel against, let's say, like AJ and stuff, and now he's, with this promo he cut and various past promos, the fact that he's got the crowd to not like him, say all these chants, is definitely showed that he's one of the heels that you could put, other than against AJ all the time, against other faces within the company.
Yeah, and this whole segment was pretty much based around setting up the rematch between Kaz and Daniels and Chavo and Hernandez. Daniels and Kaz complain about Chavo and Hernandez getting preferential treatment. They go a little bit into the racism column as well.
Yes, this went pretty heavy. The thing that Daniels was coming out with, I was like, oh my gosh, what the hell? This is meant to be wrestling. Yes, we've heard other people mention other stuff that's gone pretty deep, but I thought this was quite strong just for a tag team feud.
Yeah.
To, let's say, a main event, so you could have gone a bit of their history, their past and stuff. But to a tag team, I just thought this was a bit heavy.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not gonna bash on it. I'm just pointing out. That's all. Then you get Chavo and Hernandez coming out, and they sign the petition and say, yeah, they're ready to give them their rematch whenever they want. So I'm guessing it's going to be rematch at Turning Point.
The petition looked pretty. Not many people signed it,
but
only
just had it.
The enable, they just basically said, yep, this is going to enable you to get 2 more fills to get your rematch. And Chavo on mic, I really liked it. He said straight to the point that I don't care, I'll give you a rematch, I'll prove that we're the champions, we're the better people. Get a match set up. I really felt this segment, especially for the tag team and the Turning Point match, was strongly done.
Yeah, and we also, backstage after that, we had Austin Aries spying on the 4 contestants in Hogan's office saying, look at them all kissing Hogan's ass, and he says he's going to get the thoughts on them as they leave, and Mr. Anderson comes out because apparently Hogan said he didn't have the fire, and they get into a brawl backstage, and that's set up for a match later. Anyone else hear the guy in the background saying, cut?
Pretty horribly done, but what I did like about this is obviously Anderson was coming out all upset, and then Aries did the heel maneuver by getting in his face, really ripping it into him, and then the brawl happened, and obviously you knew what was going to come from it, but the fact they set this up and the way they set it up, yes, there's three of the challengers in the room, Anderson being the opponent to go into a match against Aries, nicely set up.
It was a nice way of using the Champions Thursday thing to set up a match between Aries and Anderson. And essentially, they're 2 assholes, essentially, aren't they? So we'll go on to we'll give our thoughts on that match later on. Aces and Eights wanted to take out a guy and then celebrate by throwing a dart. You had Devon thinking he could call all the shots here. I wonder what Terminator Angel will think of that.
Yeah, this segment, as much as it was something different, they were in a whole different locker room, their own locker room. They're all together, all chatting away, even though there's more 8 and 8 members than you saw in that locker room. Is that the way they set up, Devon was saying, yeah, we need to do this, we need to do that. It was actually making him sound like he has control, he has all the bright ideas. When you had the arm breaker guy, you had the other guy, the continuous talks of the past. And then you went through the whole dart thing. Yes, it was a nice way of doing it. You don't get to find out who the other person was on the dartboard and stuff. It felt strongly done. It's just I felt Devon was quite heavily trying to take control of this segment.
And I guess when he's the only unmasked guy in the room, and essentially he's the only character they really have. They're going to have to focus a lot on the Devon character because giving a masked guy a mic just doesn't really work. After this segment, we had Samoa Joe versus Robbie T in a TV title match. Why Robbie T is getting a TV title match, I do not know, but Joe wins very easily after 4 rear naked chokes in 2 minutes. At least the booking was strong here, and we got moving on in a pretty strong amount of time.
Robbie T is someone, like I've said from the beginning, yes, not many people like him, who should be a big guy going off on his own, away from Robbie E. Robbie obviously got semi-involved in this match, but overall, Robbie T getting involved, X Division, getting a shot out of nowhere, I was against it.
Yeah, and I do wonder what they're going to do with the TV title now. Are they going to have Magnus get a rematch, or...
Where was he?
He wasn't in the segment again. I'm guessing the feud is over, but who really knows? They didn't get that much TV time last time, and they still had a match at the pay-per-view, but there we go. And now, I believe it was at our main event, Mr. Anderson versus Austin Aries in a Who's the Bigger Asshole match. This is I like this match because there was a lot of intensity in there, and it really did feel like these guys really hated each other based off that backstage segment. Despite the fact that it was kind of filler, it felt like it had a purpose on this show, didn't it?
And that's the thing, whenever Anderson wrestles, we've seen him previous other matches and always complimented him. Yes, he does not get booked well, he does not get what he deserves, but when he wrestles, especially against main eventers, he puts on great matches like we've seen against AJ, Bully Ray, other ones. I'm always complimenting this. This match in particular, he was against the champion. And yes, Anderson was booked pretty strong against him. I really enjoyed this match.
Yeah, and I think this would have been better to maybe save until the open fight. Now, this match seemed to have open fight night written all over it, in my opinion, but that's apparently going to be next week. Probably, this would have been nice to have an open fight night, but I still enjoyed this segment in our main event. You had Aries knocking out Anderson with the brass knucks, and he hides the brass knucks and pretends that he never did anything to get the win, because that's what heels do.
Yeah, the way they set this up, it was something different. We expected that Aries was going to cheat when he got out the ring, blah blah blah. But the way that Anderson just stood there to be punched, then he collapsed, and then the 1, 2, 3. They set up quite well. A heel maneuver, good match, heel finish, and that's what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of felt like reminiscent of the lie, cheat, and steal gimmick a little bit, didn't it? But there we go. And then after that, we get TNA and Taz are back, and that immediately killed our buzz as we go into the next match, which is Tara versus Miss Tetchmarker for the Knockouts title, another one of the rematches that they had. And that was announced last week, so at least they gave this some hype from last week. The match itself, in about 4.5 minutes, probably not enough time to really put a title match in, but Jesse basically helped Tara get the victory, standard.
And the thing about this match, I was saying this while we were watching it, why did this match end, why couldn't the match end unclean, like when Tara was holding onto the ref? Why did she not like call for the bell or something, and at least said, right, I still want my match? And then when Brooke came out and announced what she did, she could have said, at turning point, you're going to have your rematch, just instead of giving it away on free TV.
I guess they're maybe going down the Tara and ODB route. I'm not really sure what they're doing. Maybe so they can have some Eric Young involvement with Jesse Goddard. I don't know. But you get Brooke Hogan coming out after the match announcing the next week on Open Fight Night, ODB will face Jesse Goddard. And with this whole thing about men not being able to hit women on Spike TV, god damn, that's going to be like, what the fuck?
This match, I think this is a way to bring Eric Young back.
It will.
Because I don't think it's going to go down the way that Brooke wanted it to. But ODB, I wanted to become a singles knockout, but we'll have to see what happens in the Open Fight Night.
You know, a while back, NJ, when you were complaining about the way Joseph Park was being treated on TNA Impact Wrestling, when you thought that Hogan really wasn't looking out for him, well, they finally addressed that on this edition of TNA Impact Wrestling, when Joseph Park finally calls out Hogan on whether he cared about him or not. And he now has a lawsuit on his hand, apparently, which is, yeah.
Okay, with Joseph Park, he's coming along quite strongly now. Like, he's getting Hogan's face, saying, if you're not going to help me, give me what I want, stay out my way. Joseph Park is definitely getting in Hogan's face. Yes, they're still not showing him as a part of the Ace and Eights or something, so there could still be a Joseph Parks or Abyss, where we don't know where Abyss so disappeared to. But I did feel this segment actually showed a better side to Joseph Parks.
Joseph Park is much better than Abyss anyway, so I've enjoyed the Joseph Park character. I hope they find a way to keep him on TV. It seems like they kind of have. In the next segment, as we found out from the Championship Thursday thing, where Bully Ray got eliminated because he was too focused on his brother, Devon, Bully Ray comes out to the ring to call out Devon, and you get Devon coming out, hiding behind the Aces and Eights, saying that TNA and Hogan did nothing for him and that Aces and Eights were there when he needed to. And then you kind of see, this became a good segment in my opinion, because these guys obviously have very good chemistry on the mic, and it's that chemistry in my opinion which did make this segment a very good one. Talking about their feud that happened 2 years ago, Bully Ray wanted to fight Devon for turning his back on TNA. Next week we're going to have an Open Fight Night call out by Bully Ray on Devon, I guess.
Devon's might work here. I'm going to give him some credit, just because when he started saying that, when I left and I was down and out, Hogan, Sting, Dixie Carter just sat in the offices and did nothing apart from the odd tweet. And the way that he was bringing that up, and it was the Ace and Eights who lifted him up and gave him a chance, I thought that was a nice setup there and explained, which we wanted more from Devon. The Buddy Ray stuff, he says it's nothing to do with you. Buddy Ray was saying it was rubbish. It is. The fact is, they brought up a lot of history and backstage stuff we don't know about. this really showed that they want to face each other, but it's obviously the face in Buddy Ray who demanded and made the match happen.
Yeah, so next week on Open Fight Night, we're going to be getting Bully Ray versus Devon, I guess. I guess they're going to try and build that towards a pay-per-view match as well. I did think this, despite the fact that it's Bully Ray and Devon, and I don't really want to see them face off necessarily, I still felt this was a really, really good segment, in my opinion.
For the Ace and 8, and it gave Devon, even during this, he felt like he was doing the leader talk. And Buddy Ray, as much as I don't like him as a face, this is setting up one feud coming up for the future. So I think it did its justice there. Devon, let me remind you one important thing. You are not the leader of the Ace and 8. I am. So if you dare go on to another Impact show and act like you're the leader, you're going to have to deal with me. And now I find out next week, Buddy Ray's challenged you to a fight. Well, this is your chance to prove that you're worthy to be a part of the Ace and 8. Because if you dare fail, there'll be consequences. Beware, Devon.
So next week on Gut Check, we're going to be getting this ex-TNA star. I can't really remember his name. Do you think, and I guess I'll put this to you guys out there, Joey Matthews, whatever his name was. I'll put this question to you guys out there. Do you think that the Gut Check concept has kind of ridden itself into the horizon now? Because I don't really see the point of Gut Check anymore if they're just going to keep bringing these kind of nobodies through.
Well, with the Gut Check, they are trying to bring in smaller talent and fill in their odd little places within TNA. At least they're not coming in TNA being jobbers. They're actually probably going to be in the X Division to build the X Division numbers up. But the thing is, most of the Gut Check wrestlers have came in, had a few things here and there, and just faded out. And it's really such a shame because the Gut Check was meant to have the X Division, but instead it's just a little segment that TNA throw to us.
Yeah, and it's kind of getting to the point now where I used to like it, but now I'm kind of finding it pointless and a kind of waste of time, personally. But there we go. So we get to the final two people in this Championship Thursday. It was between Angle and James Storm. Now, Angle gets picked over James Storm, but apparently Hogan has something big lined up for James Storm, and he wanted to go to his office. So I do wonder what that is. I guess we'll probably find out next week on Open Fight Night.
I'm guessing they're going to set something up. I'm expecting the way they spoke last week, it's going to be another rude match. I'm thinking there's going to be a big match set up for Turning Point. I say big match because I expect it's going to be a stipulation, a cage or something.
I think it might be a #1 contender.
There could be something strong here, but I expect it's going to be rude again. But Angle versus Jeff Hardy, a WWE-styled match, a match that we know is going to be a great match because they're two great athletes. So I just thought this is a good main event.
Victory Road and Lockdown, these two had two very good matches at both those pay-per-views, especially at Lockdown. It was no different here. I really did like this match. Did you also notice how when Jeff Hardy came out, he had both the old World Heavyweight Championship and the new World Heavyweight Championship? He kind of looked like a sort of Chris Jericho Undisputed Champion.
And the fact he had both belts, it was like, I'm the champion, I'm just proving it by having my stupid belt and the belt that actually means something in the company. And yes, by the end, there was something more to those two belts, but then we get to the match. Yeah,
the match itself, it was a good match. I did enjoy this main event. Jeff Hardy, I guess my only one thing about it was the way the match finished. It was a sunset flip, and I guess it goes to the point now where finishers kind of seem a bit meaningless on TV now, especially when you keep kicking out of them. And it's got to the point now where, maybe you alluded to this as well, where finishers just don't seem that important now anymore.
They had some pretty good stuff. The finishers happened numerous times. Yeah. Jeff Hardy hit 2 Twist of Fate before the Swanton. And I thought, that's got to be it. Yeah. 2 of them and then that finish. But no, Angle kicked out and then the match just went down to the sun flip. And I really thought that, don't call them finishers, just call them signature moves like they say in some games, because they're not really finishers anymore. No. But that takes nothing away from the match. Just so you know, I did enjoy this match. I did think this was a great main event for the build-up of this show. I'm still against Hogan picking who's going to be the opponent. I'm going to say that now. It was stupid how he had cancelled down. Instead of having a fatal 4-way or something, then a main event, it was still a good main event.
Question for you guys out there. Would you rather see Hogan picking the guys, or would you rather see a #1 contendership match to start off the show and then go into a main event match? Would you rather see, which one of those would you rather see? Let me know down in the comment section below. So yeah, and we only really have the Attitude Era to thank for this whole kicking out of finishers business when they started putting stars against each other and stuff. So yeah, so basically Jeff Hardy wins the match as he should have.
But now, there's a little footage here we're showing you, because something is happening behind the footage, and that is Aries attacking Jeff Hardy, which you don't get to see.
No, because they were too busy replaying the finish. But Aries comes out and attacks Jeff Hardy, which we didn't see. Aries says he will invoke his rematch at Turning Point, says a couple of jokes which we enjoyed, and then he takes his belt and said, I'm just going to keep this for safekeeping, Jeff. Don't worry about it. I'll keep it safe.
And the two things I want to say is that Aries is the better one on mic compared to Aries and Jeff. I really like Aries on mic. He's got the comedy factor, he's got the serious factor, he's got the heel and face factor to him. I really enjoy him on mic. The two belts thing, as we saw, was Aries claiming the one that actually belongs to him, and then Hardy's stupid belt that he gets to keep.
I mean, you say Hardy's... I mean, I agree. Hardy is a much better overall performer, but he's not the draw that Hardy is, which is why he's the champion right now. Just thought I'd bring that up. And to end, we didn't have that to end the show, actually. To end the show, we had Aces and Eights taking out Kurt Angle in a scene very reminiscent of many TNA Impact Wrestling angles before. And interestingly, they had Wes Briscoe coming in and saving Kurt Angle at the end, really, wasn't it?
The way they did that, I was expecting another late Buddy Ray run out like they've been doing every last few weeks. But this, it was unexpected because the match was the main event. You had a little promo from Aries. You thought Aries was going to finish it. But no, that dart thing left to Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle, and obviously Storm was the one who seeked him at the end. Attacking Kurt Angle, I don't think it's going to lead anywhere. But like Devon said earlier in the night, he's going to take out everyone that he wants to take out, and that's going to be numerous people within the TNA locker room.
Yeah, and apparently the Aces and Eights are just attacking people for fun now. Reminds me of a certain Terminator NJ, but there we go. Just want to know your thoughts on this edition of Impact Wrestling, the Champions Thursday.
I'm against two things. Number one, I'm against the fact they had 4 matches probably set up for the pay-per-view, and they're giving them away on free TV. You've got the open fight night and you've got the Championship Thursday, which I really thought you were going to stick to one. Now you've got 2 weeks where you're going to have title matches instead of at the pay-per-view. The matches we got tonight, pretty strong. Some were just there, I think, and not really the greatest matches. But overall, I thought this show was pretty good.
It was a strong show, and I will say this as well about the whole Championship Thursday thing. I am also against it, but I can understand why TNA may do it, especially when their business model focuses very much a lot on ratings. It's something I don't like, but it's something I have to accept. And lately, the ratings for TNA have been nowhere near really where I think that Pritchard would have thought they would be at this point in time. So they're going to have to start putting this kind of stuff on free TV, even though it should really be safe for the pay-per-view. I guess that's the only thing I can really say about why they may be doing Championship Thursday and then Open Fight Night, even though Open Fight Night hasn't really proved itself as a ratings draw. But there we go. So a strong edition of Impact this week, we thought, even though Turning Point got a little bit of build, I guess.
It's going to be the same next week, I think. They're going to have too much concentrating on the Open Fight Night that it may affect the pay-per-view like past Open Fight Nights have. But I'm going to give it hope and just say, you've got Turning Point coming up, concentrate on it.
So give us your thoughts on this TNA Impact Wrestling show and the questions we've posed to you down in the comment section below. Now it's time for Andrew to give you a lovely little outro to this video.
Thank you very much, people. This has been another Impact video from Mr. Parkin and me, NJ. Hopefully you've enjoyed the show and this review. Please share your thoughts in the comment section below. And until next time, YouTubers, goodbye.